Hey guys, this is Salty. Welcome to my Beast Mastery Hunter Beginner's Guide. Today I'll be going over offensive, defensive, and utility abilities, as well as pet selection, general stat priority, and both single target and AoE talent builds. Beast Mastery Hunter is one of the easiest specs to pick up in the game, making it an ideal choice for beginners, as well as an excellent choice for more experienced players looking for a class to master. Every BM Hunter ability can be cast whilst moving, making Beast Mastery Hunters the most mobile range class in the game. I'll be making more guides as the expansion progresses, so if you do want to be kept up to date, make sure you hit that subscribe button and enable all notifications. Right, let's get into it. As far as your main rotational abilities, the general rotation for single target and AoE centers around maintaining 3 stacks of Frenzy on our pets. Each time you cast Barb Shot, you apply a stack of Frenzy to your pet. The Frenzy buff is applied to our pets, meaning you can cast Barb Shot on 3 different targets to reach these 3 stacks. Barb Shot also applies a bleed effect, so in a Mythic Plus or AoE scenario, it is actually beneficial to apply it to different targets. For an AoE scenario, we want to add multi-shot into the mix as well. This is only cast to trigger Beast Cleave. Multi-shot itself is just terrible. Outside of this, we typically want to be casting Kill Command when it's up, casting Bestial Wrath on cooldown, and Cobra Shot as our filler. We now also have a cooldown called Call of the Wild. This should always be used, preferably when engaging a new pack in Mythic Plus, and lined up with our on-use Trinket and or Potion when appropriate. I will link the macro I use to use Call of the Wild and my on-use Trinket in the video description. Kill Shot should be used as a filler once your target is below 30% HP. As for Arcane Shot and Steady Shot, we never touch them as a BM Hunter. For a full rotational overview and priority order, I suggest you check out my complete BM Hunter PvE guide, which is linked below in the video description. I would also strongly recommend checking out my user interface guide to learn how to set up trackers for Call of the Wild, Beast Cleave, Bestial Wrath, and most importantly, Frenzy. Let's talk about defensive abilities. The only downside to BM is that we can be very squishy, especially in higher Mythic Plus keys. This means that we need to be utilizing our defensive abilities as required. Aspect of the Turtle deflects all attacks and reduces all damage taken by 30% for 8 seconds. It is on a 2.4 minute cooldown and you cannot attack during its duration. I suggest hotkeying this so it can be turned on and off easily. It should be used as your "oh god, I'm about to take a huge amount of damage" button. It's also great for clearing certain mechanics in Mythic Plus and raids. Exhilaration is our self-heal. It heals us for 30% of our maximum health, as well as our pet for 100% of their health. For pet selection, there are 3 distinct pet families we can choose from: Tenacity, Ferocity, and Cunning. Cunning is the go-to for PvP, but is rarely taken for PvE. It provides an on-use ability called Master's Call. This ability immediately clears all snares and roots from your pet and your friendly target. Passively, taking a Cunning pet increases the movement speed of you and your pet by 8% via the Pathfinding ability. For PvE, you will generally use a Tenacity pet. The on-use ability Fortitude of the Bear increases the maximum health of you and your pet by 20% for 10 seconds. Passively, taking a Tenacity pet increases the maximum health of you and your pet by 5% via the Endurance training ability. Finally, you may be called upon to provide Lust for your raid or Mythic Plus group, in which case you will need to break out a Ferocity pet. The Ferocity pet's on-use ability is Primal Rage, which increases you, your parties, and your raid group's haste by 30% for 40 seconds. Passively, Predator's Thirst increases the leech of you and your pet by 10%. The TLDR is Cunning Pet for PvP, Tenacity for PvE, unless you need to provide Primal Rage, in which case it's Ferocity. Okay, let's take a look at the utility abilities you should have on your bars. Hunter's Mark, which places a mark on the target, making their location viewable from your minimap and making them unable to hide from you. This now also increases all damage taken by the target while above 80% by 5%. You or one of the other hunters in your group need to be applying this priority targets such as Mythic Plus and raid bosses. Aspect of the Cheetah increases your movement speed by 90% for 3 seconds, followed by 30% for 9 seconds. Now this one is on a 3-minute cooldown, so use it sparingly. Flare reveals all stealthed or hidden enemies in a targeted area. This can be handy for Mythic Plus. Disengage, you'll be using this one a lot. It launches your character backwards a short distance. Use this frequently as required. It will also cancel knockbacks, fall damage, and other forms of forced movement. Freezing Trap places down a trap on the ground which freezes any normal enemy which walks over it, preventing them from moving or acting for 1 minute. For talent choices, I will list the import codes for my single target and Mythic Plus / AoE builds in the video description below for you, but in terms of what talents to take and what enchants and consumables to use, please just refer to my comprehensive Beast Mastery Hunter PvE guide. There's no point me going over it all again here. For stats, our primary stat is Agility, and as for secondaries, Mastery, Haste, and Critical Strike are all roughly equal, with Versatility offering the least amount of benefit, especially early into the endgame. To truly understand what stats are actually perfect for your specific hunter, you will need to run simulations using raid bots, but that is not really something we need to cover in a beginner's guide. And there you go, guys. I really hope you were able to take something away from this video, and I really appreciate you taking the time to check it out. As always, my name is Salty, and I will catch you next time. Cheers.